The October 25 Ave Maria market results are in, and quite honestly, some of them cause concern, but some of them cause confidence. This is the November 2025 Ave Maria market update. This channel focuses on everything to do with living in Southwest Florida. If you're thinking about buying, selling, or you just have questions, call or text me at 239-450-5786. Or if you'd like to schedule a no obligation personal Zoom call with me, click the link below. Well, as I said in the intro, the numbers are in for October, and as I looked at them, there was some concern, but there also is a growing confidence in the numbers. So let's just jump right in to the November 2025 Ave Maria market update. Well, as I do each and every month, I take the information directly out of Southwest Florida MLS system and provide it to you in its raw form. If I apply filters or do anything to change the numbers, I let you know because I want you to have all the information possible, along with my opinion of what the numbers mean, so that you and your family can make the right decisions for you about your Ave Maria real estate goals and all of Southwest Florida in general. So let's begin, as we do most months, with pricing. The closed median price was $425,000. That's down 11.5% year over year, down significantly from 2023. But is that really an accurate picture? Well, yes, if we look at the peaks, yes, it's down. But the accurate picture is that we are still well above over $100,000, probably close to $125,000 from where we started 2021, where this is where we started to see the interest rates hitting the low threes and even into the twos. And then, of course, the craziness and price increases of 2022 that affected all of Florida and definitely Southwest Florida for sure. Ave Maria was not immune to it. We saw these values jump like crazy. Owners that owned their properties before 2021 have a huge amount of equity because of this. But the buyers that bought in this time frame, obviously, price adjustment down to a little bit closer to where the normal curve should have been. Again, you don't have as much equity position as some of your neighbors do because they bought before the post-COVID craziness, as I call it, every month. Average price $428,317. Interesting. Usually there's a bigger difference between the median and average this month. Obviously, we don't have a ton of sales to adjust the average number or inflate the average number like we do, when we look at, like, say, all of Collier County or even the Golden Gate Estates or Lee County. But again, we're seeing here numbers are pretty stable. 428,317. It's down 9%. That's not a huge amount. That's certainly no crash, but no real cause for concern. The average percent of list price. This is a good indicator of what's happening in the market within Ave Maria. Now, this slide here, I actually pulled in some comparable data. So we see here that Ave Maria sellers are accepting offers that are 96.4% of the current listed price. Now, that's not the original listed price, but it's the current listed price. But we see here Collier County, the average is 93.8%. That's countywide. 95.7% in Lee County, 95% for the entire Southwest Florida MLS system. So we see that Ave Maria is actually holding its value, and sellers are actually getting closer to their current asking price than much of Southwest Florida is. So that is a good sign for sellers because, again, there's not a huge amount of inventory, but as we're going to see, there definitely is inventory. And that's where we get to what I think, in my opinion, the problem that's facing Ave Maria. It's not price, it's inventory and buyer's demand. So let's take a closer look at why I'm saying this. So the current months of supply inventory. So just a reminder, months of supply or inventory is the amount of months that it would take to sell out the current inventory if no more homes are added to the market. So if we put a freeze on new listings, it would take us 9 months at the current pace to sell out of all the inventory in Ave Maria. Now, of course, Ave Maria has condos and higher value homes and a 55 plus community, and then it's got a country club feel community in the National. So there's a lot of mixed opportunities. So selling out of all the inventory really would be pretty tough. But the reality is that the numbers say it would take 9 months. That's down 2.2% year over year. And again, when we look at it, short of the craziness that happened after COVID, this is kind of the normal inventory level for Ave Maria. Now, the average days on market, this is where it starts getting concerning for sellers. You are going to look at anywhere from up to probably about 133 days on the market. Now, there are homes that are selling way faster than that, but the average days on market, this is where, I like to look at average days on market rather than the median days on market, because this is really a more accurate picture of the market, in my opinion, than median for this. Now, pricing, I look at median. But on days on market, I tend to advise my sellers to consider the average number as their expected time on the market. So 133 days is definitely higher than, say, the average of 90 that we see across a lot of the county. But the reality is that there just are not a whole lot of buyers. Ave Maria is a very specific market and a very specific buyer. Now, let's look at why we're seeing inventory where it is. In October, we saw 58 new listings hit the market. That is up a whopping 152% over 2024 and still significantly up over 2023. Remember, 2023, we were trying to gain inventory because we had really nothing to sell, but we didn't really have a ton of buyers either by the end of the year because of the interest rate jumps. But again, we see here that 152% over year, 58 new listings in October. That is the third highest month in Ave Maria history. Now, it just happens that the two highest are in 2025 as well. So, we are getting some significant inventory in Ave Maria. I think some of this hitting now, and I would expect probably next month's to be high as well, is, preparing for the seasonal buyers that are coming into Ave Maria into the area. And trying to get your property sold during that time. Total homes for sale, 212 homes for sale in Ave Maria. That's 25.4% over 2024. Again, it's a significant amount of inventory for a community the size of Ave Maria. Second highest month in Ave Maria history. Just a few months ago, we had a little bit higher, and here we see beginning of the year, we kind of were flatlined just a little bit below where we are right now. So, there's a lot of homes with not a whole lot of buyers. Now, pending sales, okay, this is a good sign. Remember I said in the intro that there's a lot of mixed information and reasons for confidence. And this right here is a reason for confidence. There's been a lot of good and bad economy newses. There's been interest rate adjustments. We saw that interest rates had started going down. Buyers were starting to hit the market again. And then, of course, the Fed started to adjust interest rates again. And, I think some buyers have actually stepped back and said, well, wait a minute. If I wait 6 months, is it going to be significantly less? I can wait. So let me see. So the wise buyer is still jumping in while there's not as much competition, because as I always say, and I say it in almost every video that I do when it comes to these market updates, your rate is not permanent. Now, your home is a much harder change than your rate. So, consider the opportunity of not a whole lot of buyers and lots of inventory to make the right choice for you and your family. Closed sales 17, we are up 70% year over year, better than 2023 at this time. And remember, 2023 at this time, we were still seeing the sales from a decent market. It was right around this time in 2023 that the market kind of just stopped. And that's where we see in 2024. And now we're starting to see things picking up. 2024 and 2025 have been really hard years for sellers and buyers too, and the real estate agents. But it is starting to trend in the right direction, in my opinion. Let's look at some historical numbers. So here we see 288 total closings from January to October. That's 28.8 homes per month average. Okay. Again, that's not a full year. Here, 2024, we saw 301 homes. That's 25 per month. 23, 310, 25 per month. 22, we saw 252 homes, 21 per month. 21, 312 homes, 26 per month. In 2020, we only saw 186. This was the COVID year, of course. But one thing I will just say about Ave Maria is we need to remember that there are a lot of sales that occur each month that are not on the MLS, both with 4 communities that are in active construction that have sales centers where the homes never actually hit the MLS. Unless there's a realtor involved that enters it into the MLS system, we don't see those numbers and those sales into these numbers. So again, we're working with really kind of partial data. But what's interesting is that, we just see the turnover and, we actually are not on a horrible pace for 2025. And I think, and I suspect, we're going to see 2026 really start to pick up. So what does this all mean for you? If you're thinking about selling your home, there are a lot of factors that go into whether now is the right time for you to sell. That's where my Sell It Stress-Free system comes in. It is designed for any market, and it's designed to get your home sold for the best possible dollar. And now I'm able to offer you up to 4 or more instant cash offers. If you want to have a conversation about this or learn more about it, visit my website, sellitstressfree.com, scan the QR code, or just call me or text me, and let's open up a conversation and decide whether now's the right time and whether my Sell It Stress-Free program, which I'm pretty confident it is the right program for you. Now, if you're thinking about buying anywhere here in Southwest Florida, whether it be Ave Maria, Cape Coral, Lehigh Acres, Naples, of course, Marco Island, Golden Gate Estates, Fort Myers, and anywhere in between, I am here to help you figure out when is the right time to buy and where and which house is right for your family. Call or text me at 239-450-5786. And as always, I want to thank you for joining me in this monthly market update. I know a lot of you join me each and every month, and I really am so thankful for you. With Thanksgiving coming up, it only seems appropriate to say thank you for joining us. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel, and hit the bell to be notified about all my future videos. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.